So wait, explain the timeline to me again then?
Well, it's like Germans marching off to the Third Battle of Passchendaele, which the French called the Battle of Ypres.
Ypres.
Ypres. It's spelled, oh, this is fake.
Welcome to Number One Boys, the Ringer's Succession After Show, aka Fear and Self-Loathing in Tribeca. My name is Chris Ryan. This is Jason Concepcion. We're your Number One Boys, and we're gonna get into Succession Season 2,
That's right.
Episode 2, Walter, aka the Kendall Roy game.
That's right, baby.
We start off each episode of Number One Boys with buy or sell, which means what are we investing in and what are we divesting in, with no allusions to the possible recession coming. Oh, is this what you were telling me about?
Yeah, this is Snow Leopard. This is from the, wait, this isn't it. This isn't the one.
No,
this isn't
we wanted the one with the droopy left
Jason,
eye. Which one did you get?
That's not the one. I told you to get it!
We talk here about who we're into, what we're
Yes.
into on this show. So first, for buy,
Ooh.
I'm gonna go Kendall as a son, right? So if we take all of what Kendall's actions are off the table in this episode, and you just talk about whether or not he is executing
Yes.
against his assignment as a son,
He's crushing it.
did a great job.
He's tearing
He
throats
did.
right now.
He has said over and over and over again. What does he say at the end of the episode? Because my dad told me to.
Because my dad told me to.
That's literally and you can see there is no soul inside of
Yeah.
him anymore. It has left his body. It's like Ed Reed hit him in the back with a helmet to
Right.
spine hit.
And you saw the soul actually just come out the back, like whoop, 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 whoop,
Yeah,
whoop, whoop,
but
whoop.
he is literally doing exactly what Logan wants him to do, and doing it in a way that in the previous season, I don't know that he was necessarily capable of. I don't know if he showed that kind of, not savviness, but ability to be clandestine.
That's a great point because in the past, he's kind of been not honest with himself about the fact that he's doing things because his dad either directly told him to or because his dad set him on this course to be the person he is. And now
Right.
he's just plain spoken about it. My dad told me to do this. My dad told me to gut your company, so I did. He reminds me of Darth Vader in a way in this episode because he's like, Darth Vader is the henchman. The Emperor calls the shots. Darth is extremely powerful and scary, but there's a lot of roiling emotion inside. And Kendall, that scene when he's staring at himself in the bathroom mirror after doing a bump of coke off the back of his hand, and he and immediately his demeanor changes to kind of giddy or just at least bemused at his own misfortune, and he balls up the napkin and just throws at himself.
Yeah.
That was an incredible moment.
I think you can make the argument that Kendall's character has sort of not regressed. He definitely has regressed as a human, but that they've dialed him back to the beginning of where he was in season 1. But when you think about the guilt that he's probably carrying around, whether or not he's reckoning with that or not, that's sort of an integral part of cleaning up. Is to kind of come to grips with what you've done. And it's not surprising at all that he's doing key bumps in bathroom stalls and kind of laughing at the own absence of his own soul.
What's really incredible about season 2 is they're doing a prequel without doing a prequel.
Right.
We saw Logan fall apart right at the beginning of last season. We met Kendall post rehab, and now it's we've brought all these characters to probably the way they were before season 1 happened, with Logan in full control, his kids jockeying for position, and Kendall absolutely a drug addict.
Yeah. And also, not for nothing, if you notice, they've changed the structure of the show. It's no longer these preordained months apart reunions of the family. Maybe that will come into play in the second half of the season or in future episodes. But right now we are in a much more traditional, Roman's over here, Kendall's over here, Shiv's over here, and we're cross-cutting. Now, for as much as we may be buying Kendall as a son, you're selling
I'm
Kendall.
selling Kendall. I'm selling Kendall as a human being. Yes, he was. He's being a good father to his daughter.
Kind of.
She got to meet Snow Joe, but also he was turn that roller coaster up to almost a dangerous level.
It goes, how fast does this go? Up to a point. Let's take it to that point.
But, you know, as a human being inside, he is a mess, staring out into the night, like the skyline, looking at the skyline of New York City, thinking about who knows what, stealing stuff from bodegas, doing coke, drinking, just draining flutes of champagne, pills, dealing with the fact that he very high-key committed manslaughter, and that his dad is essentially blackmailing him with that fact to get him to do stuff.
And then pushing him into positions where he basically has to pretend as if he's not being blackmailed, but do things that make no sense whatsoever otherwise.
And at what point does Kendall absolutely break irrevocably inside?
Or is this how guys like Logan are made?
Right. It feels like something is coming. Either he turns into that like black-hearted killer like Logan, or he absolutely shatters into a million pieces.
What else are we buying and selling this week? That's all our stuff on Kendall, but who else are you buying on this show?
I'm buying Jerry.
Ooh, Jerry stock. Get the
Jerry,
bump.
not a big Jerry episode, but I think it's very notable that Roman has now reached out to her again when he needed help. Like, what do I do? I'm at Walter. I don't understand what Kendall's doing. Let me call Jerry, who, by the way, is like, I have 90 seconds to talk to you. And I think as Roman continues to spiral, which he surely will, as Ken, at least for now, appears ascendant, I think we'll see him reach out to Jerry more as a touchstone, as a weird kind of mentor.
Maternal figure.
A maternal figure, and I really look forward to that relationship, because he's like, the way he was like, well, can you just be here? Can you just be in the room? That weird neediness. And the fact that Roman chose Jerry as that point person, I think, is very interesting, because Jerry is just as much as a shark as anyone, and that's an opportunity for her. And I look forward to her potentially exploiting that opportunity.
Yeah, the pairing of Roman and Kendall is essentially just about one person telling another person that they're a piece of shit. But I do think it's pretty interesting how Roman is so honest about what he is.
Yeah.
Like, he is like, I don't read. I don't work hard. I don't try. I am essentially just like here to be important without anything ventured.
Yeah.
And like watching him reckon with that, and then Tabitha being like, oh, by the way, you did a good job here. Like you should and he's like, I don't know how to process that. I don't know how to process the fact that I had an idea.
Yeah. Sounds like you kind of did your job.
Yeah.
And he's just like bent over like.
I would say that one of the things I'm buying this week on Succession is just one thing to keep an eye on is this idea of efficiency, which Tom stresses to Peach, who runs ATN, which obviously Kendall applies to his vision of Walter, is all these ideas that you can strip mine, all these like
give me the
links
skulls
in the production chain, get me skulls, like how do you tighten the belt? And whether or not, like, this is something that like, I think Waystar Royco obviously just applies to any of their mergers and acquisitions. They obviously have done away with any speed limits on their roller coasters. So yeah, efficiency is definitely something I think is going to be a keyword that comes up multiple times this year. Are you buying, selling anything else?
I'm buying Greg the Egg.
Yeah.
Listen.
Good season for him so far.
Great season for my guy,
really
Greg.
Great middle relief.
Shows that he has some principles, very flexible at this point. Listen, everybody's got to make a living. We'll get to that line in a bit. Still Ken's Coke runner, and listen, job security. If you're looking for a job that will absolutely just be there in this economy, it's delivering cocaine for Kendall Roy.
Kendall Roy's of the world, yeah.
And then he got like a $5 million apartment because Kendall's like, I had my guy try to flip these, but like the market kind of not great right now, so it's yours.
There's a catch to that though, because I'm selling Kendall as a landlord.
Oh no!
I thought that was a very nice human moment where Kendall was just like, this is just like. Also, a very sad statement on the state of New York City real estate, where they're just like, here's all these like multi-million-dollar condos empty, so my developer is gonna flip them. And so in the meantime, you who was like looking at like half of a loft in Staten Island,
right, a closet,
where you couldn't actually sit up in, you can have this huge multi-million-dollar apartment downtown in New York City. So Kendall then comes through and is like, by the way, this also needs to be my den of.
Wait, hold on. I'm looking for pussy like a techno Gatsby.
What was that?
What the fuck?
What are the odds that Kendall's actually read Gatsby?
I think he
Or
probably
do you
read the
think
first
he's
3
he's
pages.
got like that's like somebody told him that at a restaurant.
He saw the Gatsby movie and was incredibly moved, and I think he probably, I think he was like tried to invest in that movie when it came out.
My last sell is Tom as Edward R. Morrow. Tom's in a great spot. They're really putting McFadden in like this really interesting place where like he's always got like these watery eyes.
Yeah.
And he's just like so naked in his ambition. He's like, well,
it's
that's
absolutely
great, Shiv,
upfront.
but that's not the plan.
Yeah.
And I thought his meeting with Peach was incredible.
Unbelievable.
And also, you know, it's like it's not that he wants to push ATN to the left.
Yeah.
It's that he just wants them to not only sell shit pills to 68-year-olds. Jay, did you have anything else you were selling this week?
I'm going to sell Shiv. Listen, finally got a measure of clarity about what the timeline for the turnover will be. It's approximately 3 years. She really got Logan's attention with the PR strategy to fire back at Stewie and Sandy, but with Kendall ascendant at the end and the way the caginess of Logan, there's no way he is not setting her up for some kind of betrayal. There's no way!
All these kids have a propensity for self-destruction.
Yes.
Which is really interesting because they manifest themselves in different ways. Like, Roman is incredibly external and obvious. Like, he blows satellites up.
Yeah.
Kendall is traditional in the sense that it's like got a lot to do with substances, substance dependency. Shiv doesn't have to end her relationship with Gildan.
Yeah, she doesn't have to burn it. And
She could
certainly
be
not
like,
now.
hey, it's time for me to step back.
Right.
Like, this is where you need to go or whatever. And instead she takes such affront to him upbraiding her about that working man joke and the do you need Purell that she's just like, no, screw this. I'm destroying this on the way out.
I'm gonna burn the bridge, I'm gonna nuke the ashes, and then I'm gonna bulldoze the entire valley that the bridge stood over.
Right. Also amazing that like she stays in the car.
Yeah.
Like, as they're doing it, she's just like, I'm not getting out.
Yeah, I'm not
like
you
in a-
get out.
Yeah, you get out. We're gonna talk about number one boy. It's essentially who won the episode. I think it's a field of one.
It's Kendall.
Yeah, it's Kendall.
Absolutely crushed it. At the end of the episode, he is brought into Logan's good graces. And here's the thing, Logan's like, make yourself at home.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. So what did you think of the fact that like he's like, okay, make yourself at home, which is like obviously proximity to the seat of power is very important. Roman seems very alarmed that there's a meeting happening without him. This showed his office politics so well.
Yeah, it really does.
But when he's like, make yourself comfortable, and he like essentially sits down like the mountain, and he's just like, I'm gonna sit here at this table
and watch you look out the window?
Yeah.
And that was the other thing that was a very Vader-ish moment. There's that moment in Empire where we first see Vader just staring at that at space through the back of the windows, and they return to that shot in Return of the Jedi. But it was like the Emperor in his chair and his henchmen just looking out over the Empire. Incredible and weird moment because it's like, I'm not actually giving you the office. I just want you to be in here with me.
So that's Kendall. He's the winner of the week. He is the number one boy.
What a techno Gatsby.
This is
Wow.
it's like actually the Nobel Peace Prize. I thought it was gonna be bigger.
Does it come with, what does it come with, like $1 million?
It's because I bought a country and I said no more war.
Oh, which one?
It's not actually recognized by the UN. All right, biggest burn of the week, and this gives me and
fun
Jason,
one.
two former New Yorkers, an opportunity to talk about one of our favorite topics, the New York MTA. It's when
It's going great.
Tom goes up to Greg and says, Greg is getting the ferry to work. Check out Brian Ferry.
What a burn.
Dude, why stop at the ferry? Just come in from Cleveland on a Greyhound. That's very funny because when you were in New York and you were Greg's age and you're dealing with like Greg's like economic circumstances, you're definitely like, could I live in suburban Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah.
And still commute to New York every day.
And the other thing that brings up is when I was looking at places, I would look at literally like a ditch behind an apartment building before, and any of the 4 other boroughs before I was like, I guess I'll look at Staten Island, I guess.
Oh my God. I would rather live in Maine.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
commute.
I'll live under a sink, I guess.
I would
There's a
take
water
a
source.
steamer every day that just like brought me in and dropped me off at the harbor.
Who takes a boat to work?
There was another great burn this week. You want to handle Tabitha's?
Tabitha, who you may remember, we were introduced to her at the Underground Party, episode 8,
Prague, yeah.
Prague of season 1, where how to put this in a way that we can. It's a closed loop system. Tom, she orally serviced Tom and then spit the.
He's pretty explicit about it. I think we could follow suit.
Okay, he spit the cum back into his mouth and he swallowed it. And so they're at, Shiv and Tom are having dinner with Roman and Tabitha, and Tom has a bit of a cold. Everybody kind of walks away. Tabitha and Tom are there for a moment, and Tabitha looks at him and says, "You should try swallowing something." And Tom is just like, and she goes, "Like honey."
The adultery between Tom and Shiv, and then also like Nate and his wife.
Yes.
It's so. I don't know if we're done with that because it seems to be like a real like.
No.
Tom and Shiv's sex life seems to be something that they need to discuss constantly. So I think they're doing that definitely to keep that in our minds. The line of the week, which is slightly different than burn of the week, it doesn't have to be so scabbers. Line of the week.
This is great.
Tom says to Greg as they were walking into ATN, and Greg is expressing some moral
Some
uncertainty.
reservations, slight reservations.
And he says he has principles. Tom's like, name me one principle you have. And Greg's like, I don't know. I'm against racism. Bullshit. I'm against racism. Everybody's against racism. What else?
It's great.
Tom's amazing.
I love, I've got Tom for my line of the week as well. So Tom is talking about an big empty wall in the apartment that he and Shiv have. And he says, you know what? I don't care. This empty wall, I don't care if it's incredibly gauche, but can we just not have a big, beautiful portrait of us up there? To Saddam? To Assadi?
I also really enjoyed Kendall's COO keywords. Super casual, feet on the table, a lot of crackle in the air, ethos and culture, body pit, Potemkin village,
That's good.
and full fiber optic clear channel shit, the CT scan on your metrics.
I just want to like chop up the language in this show with the edge of my credit card and snort it directly into my brain. Yeah, I need 30 to 50 of those. 30 to 50 with the tusks. Feral hogs, full feral. I don't want these half domesticated. Let's talk finance.
Yeah.
We're experts.
No, I mean essentially like when we were sort of picked out of like the field here to host this show, it was about our underlying the foundational knowledge that we had about the market.
Guiding hand, Adam Smith.
Yeah, I mean
all that stuff.
The thing is it's about China, but it's not.
Right.
You know. And
We're
that's
LinkedIn, but we don't have to be. It's adversarial, but it's also cooperative.
So you come to us to explain some of the more high-key economic terms on the show, and this week the one that we keep hearing a lot about is proxy fight.
Right.
So it's like how to best explain proxy fight.
Right. Obviously, conflict is part of it. You know, fight meaning some sort of battle,
From the
squaring off.
Latin.
From the Latin meaning to battle over silverware.
No, yeah.
And proxy, you know, meaning who is
Like approximately.
approximately kind of like I'm trying to eyeball this fight and who.
But it's an estimate.
Right. I'm estimating the battle. What could this be? I'm looking at it, and then what do I think?
Actually, a proxy fight is when a group of shareholders try to induce another group of shareholders to join them in a takeover. So it's essentially that it's like you have one group of shareholders who want to have a takeover, or maybe an outside force that want to have a takeover, and they try to get a bunch of board members, a bunch of shareholders to go their way in the takeover.
Well, that's the Keynesian view, but the Lacanian view is actually also very
you
similar.
want to talk mirror phase now, dog? You know what's really great is that did you see that they're rolling back the Endangered Species Act?
Good.
So we can get back into trading bald eagle blood.
Good.
Let them eat cake. This is our crazy rich moment of the week. And this was, I think, first of all, we could just take everything Connor did. The sliders, the long-term rental of a hotel room.
Why don't you, have you considered a hotel?
Suggesting to Greg that he rents a hotel room as a solution to his housing problem. And then his just sort of like
unending run for the White House and his assumption that he is just going to get it, which is now not that funny.
Yeah, actually, like, maybe feasible?
But the one throwaway line that I really liked was Shiv walks into the very awkward double date with Roman and Tabitha with Tom, and it has champagne, and Roman literally just swipes the champagne out of her hand and says, "Would you like some Japanese whiskey?"
I'm going to go with shutting down an entire amusement park for the benefit of the
that's
family.
pretty good. That's pretty
Snow
good.
Joe.
Okay, so predictions for next week. I think that Shiv's gonna have a reckoning now, because Shiv's gonna
something's
sort of
gonna
start to
happen.
put the pressure on Logan. This has sort of been, if you look at this as like a 3-episode arc, so far Shiv and Kendall have all both been put in like sort of Logan's spotlight. I don't know that Roman will ever get seriously considered for this, so I think that this is essentially going to be a tug of war between Shiv and Kendall. I thought the balcony moment was really interesting in the second
it was.
episode. But what do you think is going to happen the next week?
I'm going to just go straight out of the box. There's these moments whenever Greg and Willa are in the same place, being in this, there's like, they're in the same age range, and she's got those great eye rolls, and it's really Greg is the only one who picks up on him.
Yeah, he's got principles.
I'm going long range. I see a little.
You're shipping?
I'm shipping Greg and Willa at some
shipping
point
Grilla.
in season 2.
Greg, the motherfucking egg!
I'm not saying anything will happen, but Willa, listen, like, I think it would be, it's an understatement to say Willa is probably not emotionally satisfied in this relationship with Connor.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll be back next week on Number One Boys, the Ringer Succession after show after the 3rd episode of Succession Season 2. We can't wait to see you.